for today's video, I'm going to be reading you to sleep. So, I have this children's book that I'm going to be reading to you. So, yeah. I hope you all enjoy, and let's just get started. Okay, so this book is called June Jam by Ron Roy. Here's what it looks like. It actually is a picture book, so okay. Here are the characters on the back, which is Bradley, Brian, Nate, and Lucy. This book is so cute. Okay, so the first page is, the first page is called Saturday Chores, or First Chapter. Bradley Pinto and his twin brother Brian climbed into the back seat of the family car. Their older brother Josh got in front next to their dad. "How come you always get to sit up front?" Brian asked. "Because I'm older and wiser," Josh said. Their father smiled. "Dad, thanks for taking us out for breakfast." Bradley said. "You're welcome, Bradley." His father answered. "Did you three get enough to eat?" Here's the picture of them in the car. "I sure did," Josh said. "I'll never eat again." "Yeah, right," Brian said, "for at least an hour." Bradley picked up the junior encyclopedia he'd been reading in the car. His teacher had asked each student to study one encyclopedia volume. Each kid had drawn a letter out of a bag. Bradley had gotten the letter J. So far, he had read about jaguars, Japanese fishing villages, javelin throwing, juggling, jungles, and a bunch of other stuff. He looked at a page about jam. "Why do you always have strawberry jam on your toast?" Bradley asked. His father grinned. "What else is there?" "Butter, marshmallow spread, peanut butter, grape jelly, lots of stuff," Brian said. "Your grandmother Pinto, my mom, used to make strawberry jam when I was a kid," their father said. "I had her jam sandwiches for a snack every day after school. Her jam was the best in the world. Now that she's gone, I keep trying to find strawberry jam that tastes as good as hers. So far, I haven't found it." The car pulled into their driveway. "Don't forget your Saturday chores," Bradley's father said. "Aw, Dad, I was gonna play softball," Josh said. "Okay, but after you clean the barn," his father said. "If you get cracking, you'll be done in an hour." "What's our job?" Bradley asked. "You two can weed the garden," his father said. "Do we get paid?" Bradley asked. His father laughed. "Yes, you get to sleep in a bed. You get to have 3 meals a day." They all climbed out of the car. "Change your clothes first," the boy's father said. "Can Lucy and Nate come over and help?" Bradley asked. "Sure, if they want to," his father said. "Okay, then I'm getting Dink and Ruth Rose to help me in the barn," Josh announced. "Fine," his father said. "Tell you what, if you kids do a great job, I'll buy ice cream later for everyone." The 3 boys tore up the stairs to their bedrooms. While Bradley and Brian were changing their clothes, their mother knocked and poked her head into the room. "How was breakfast?" she asked. "Awesome, Mom," Bradley said. "Why didn't you come too?" Brian asked. "I wanted to stay home to think about a present for Daddy," their mom said. "Why? Is it his birthday?" Bradley asked. She shook her head. "No, Father's Day is tomorrow." After she left, the twins finished changing. "I'll call Lucy and Nate," Bradley said. "See you downstairs," Brian said. Bradley called Lucy Armstrong. She was visiting her cousin, Dink, while her parents were in Arizona helping to build a school. Dink lived next door to Nate and Ruth Rose. Bradley, Brian, Lucy, and Nate were best friends. Josh, Dink, and Ruth Rose were all 12 and had been friends since kindergarten. Bradley ran out to the garden. "They're coming," he told his brother. "Good," Brian said. He pointed at the ground. "It'll only take 1,000,000 years to pull all these weeds." "No, it won't," Bradley said. We can divide it up into sections. You take the tomatoes, Nate can do the lettuce, and Lucy will do around the zucchini. What part will you do? Brian asked. I'll weed around the strawberries. Bradley said, Hey there they are. Lucy and Nate walked into the garden through the gate. Thanks for coming over to help, guys, Bradley said. I think weeding is fun, Lucy told him. I weed our garden in California all the time. I hate weeding, Nate said. My dad is buying us ice cream when we finish, Brian told Nate. I love weeding, Nate said. They all laughed. Let's start, Bradley said. He told the other kids their sections. All 4 kids got down on their knees and started pulling weeds. They threw them into a pile in the corner of the garden. The sun warmed their backs. How much ice cream do we get? Nate asked. 10 gallons each, Brian said. Brian, I just thought of what we can get Dad for Father's Day. Bradley said, we'll make him some strawberry jam. Brian looked at his twin brother. Jam. Not just any jam, Bradley explained. Dad loves the strawberry jam his mom used to make, right? So we'll make some for him. He'll love it. Bradley pointed at the ripe strawberries in the garden, and we'll use our own berries. We don't know how to make jam, Brian said. How hard can it be? Asked Bradley. Besides, I know Dad kept his mom's recipe in a box. There might be one for jam. Forget about making jam from these strawberries, Lucy said. Something is eating them. Look at this one. It's bitten in half. This one is too, Nate said. And that one. Something is biting all of the strawberries. The kids got down on their knees. They checked all the strawberry plants. They're all bitten, Brian said. This is horrible, Brian said. There's a strawberry monster in our garden, Brian yelled. Here is a picture. Chapter 2, Garden Monster. Bradley flopped down on the ground. Nearly every berry is bitten in half. He cried, there aren't enough good ones left to make jam. You can make zucchini jam, Nate suggested. Funny, Nate, Brian said. Lucy looked at some of the zucchini. Guys, it's not just the strawberries, she said. Something is chewing on the vegetables too. See the same kind of bites? Oh no, Brian said. Dad is gonna freak when he finds out. You'd better find whatever critter is doing this, Lucy said. Otherwise, it will eat everything. Nate looked around nervously. What if it's a snake? Maybe it's birds, Brian said. They could fly right in. Lucy picked up one of the bitten strawberries. No, this doesn't look like a bird bite, she said, or a rabbit, or a snake. What kind of bite does it look like? Bradley asked. Lucy turned the berry over and showed the boys. It's a big, round bite, she said. I think I've seen bites like this before. She looked at the boys. In the desert near where we live, there are lizards called Gila monsters. They eat birds, eggs, and small animals, but sometimes they come into people's gardens, she said, and they're poisonous. Great, we've got poisonous monsters in our garden, Brian said. Lucy laughed. No, you don't, she said. Gila monsters only live in hot, dry places. They die in Connecticut because it gets too cold here. But we once had one in our garden, and the bite is the same. They make just one jump with no chewing or nibbling. I'm not staying here to weed, Nate cried. I want to keep all 10 toes. What about the ice cream? Brian asked. I don't need any ice cream, Nate said. Bradley laughed. Yes, you do, he said. I just thought of what we can give Dad for Father's Day, Brian said. What? Bradley asked. Well, since we can't make the jam because something's eating the strawberries, we can find whatever is doing it, Brian said. We'll save Dad's garden, and that will be his present. Bradley kicked a stone. I still want to make the jam, he muttered. Did you see Dad's face when he told us about Grandma Pinto's jam that he asked to eat? We still have to catch whatever is biting all the stuff, Lucy said. What if it's a skunk? Brian asked. He was grinning. Or a monkey, Nate said. It could be a slug, Brian said. Ew, Nate yelled. I'm not touching any slug. Guys, get serious, Bradley said. He looked at the fence his father had built around the garden. Whatever is eating the stuff climbed over that. Nate stood next to the fence and held his hand up. The fence is 3 feet tall, he said. No little animal could get over that. Something might have something might have dug under the fence, Lucy said. Let's look for holes. The kids checked every inch of the ground under the fence, all around the garden. Nothing crawled under, Bradley said. The four kids looked at each other. Well, if it can't get over the fence, Nate said, and it didn't go over the fence, it must have gone right through the fence. It's a ghost, Brian said. Bradley laughed at his brother. I don't think ghosts eat strawberries, but Lucy's right. We have to catch whatever it is, he said. Otherwise, Dad won't have a garden, let alone strawberries. Here's another picture. Okay, chapter 3. Lucy's great idea. How do we catch something we can't see? Nate asked. Bradley thought about what he'd been reading in the encyclopedia about jungles. He remembered a section that showed people catching animals. I have some ideas, he said, but first, let's finish weeding the garden. If I see one thing with legs and a mouth, I'm out of here, Nate said. We all have legs and mouths, Brian teased. Nate giggled. You know what I mean, he said. The four kids got busy. They yanked every weed they could find and threw them in the pile. Bradley removed every strawberry that had been bitten. There were some ripe red ones left, and a lot that would turn red soon. The kids were hot, dirty, and sweaty when they finished. The boys took off their t-shirts and hung them on the fence. Then they sprayed each other with the garden hose. I just had an idea, Lucy said. She pointed at the t-shirts on the fence. We could build a scarecrow and stand it in the garden. It might scare the mystery creature into staying away. How do you make a scarecrow? Asked Brian. It's easy, Lucy said. I helped my folks build one back home. We need wood, nails, and some old clothes to dress it in. There's wood and nails in the barn, Brian said. I could get some of my dad's old clothes, Bradley said. Why can't we use our own? Brian asked. Too small, Lucy said. You want big floppy shirts and pants? Cool, Bradley said. We'll meet in the barn after I talk to my father. The boys put their shirts back on. Brian, Nate, and Lucy ran into the barn. Bradley cut across the yard. Dad, I need your clothes, he yelled as he entered the kitchen. Bradley's father was standing at the stove. He was humming and stirring something in a pot. The kitchen smelled like a tomato sauce. Pal, the family's Beset hound was under the table, snoring. My clothes, he asked. You want me to cook in my underwear? Bradley laughed. Not what you're wearing now, he said. Old clothes. What do you want? My old clothes. Why do you want my old clothes? His father asked. It's a surprise, Bradley said. Well, okay, go ask your mom. I think she's upstairs. Here's a picture. Thanks, Dad. Bradley ran up the stairs. His parents' bedroom door was closed. He knocked. Mom, are you awake? Come in, his mother called. She was reading, but put down her book and smiled. Why is your hair wet, Bradley? We're weeding the garden, and I got hot, he said. Bradley told his mother about the creature that was eating the strawberries and vegetables. He left out the part about wanting to make jam for Father's Day. He still wanted to do it, but he wanted it to be a surprise. We want to make a scarecrow, he said. What a good idea, his mother said. She got up off the bed and opened the door to their big closet. Okay, here's a shirt I've wanted to throw out for a year. She handed Bradley an old blue flannel shirt. And take these jeans. They have paint stains all over the knees. Bradley's mother winked. Don't tell Daddy, she whispered. Here's another picture. Lucy said. So what do we do? Brian asked. I got a hammer and nails. Lucy pulled out some thin boards. This tall one can be the body, she said, and these can be the arms and legs. We just nail them together. That's supposed to scare animals away, Nate said. It'll just be a big stick figure. No, it'll look like a big human after we put the shirt and pants and stuff in it. The pants and stuff on it with straw, Lucy explained. The kids knelt on the floor. Lucy arranged the boards. See, arms and legs. Who wants to hammer? She asked. I will, Nate said. Brian handed Nate a nail. Don't hit your thumb, he asked. I won't, Nate said. He held the nail in place, lifted the hammer, and hit his thumb. Ouch, he said. Told you, Brian said. Let me try, Bradley said, taking the hammer. I helped my dad build a birdhouse last year. Soon the boards were nailed together. Okay, now we dress him, Lucy said. The kids tucked the shirt and jeans onto the wood frame. He looks like he's starving, Nate said. Grab some straw, Lucy said. We'll make him look fat. They each brought an armful of straw and began filling the shirt and jeans. Give him a big chest, Brian said. He'll look like a giant. Bradley found some rope and they tied it around the scarecrow's waist for a belt. They tied more around his wrists and ankles so the straw wouldn't fall out. When they were done, the scarecrow looked almost real. He's cool, Nate said, except for one thing. He needs a head. Wait a sec, Bradley said. He ran into Polly's stall. His pony was munching from her pail of oats. He patted her neck, then took the empty oat bag. It said oats on one side, but the bag would make a perfect scarecrow head. He ran back to the others. How's this? He asked. Great, Lucy said. Stuff it with straw. After the head was filled with straw, the kids tied it onto the frame with more rope. It's not very scary, Brian said, but I know how to fix that. He raced out of the barn toward the house. We could draw a scary face with magic markers, Bradley suggested. Let's splash his face with red paint that looks like blood, Nate said. Brian ran back into the barn. He showed the other kids a Halloween mask. The face had warts, snaggly teeth, and a big scar with one eyeball hanging out of its socket. What do you think? Brian asked. Awesome, Nate said. Bradley laughed. Cool, Brian. Not even Dad will go in the garden when he sees this. Brian tucked the mask over the stuffed oats bag. Okay, let's bring him outside, Lucy said. The kids each took an arm or a leg and they lugged the scarecrow into the garden. Josh, Dink, and Ruth Rose stared at the younger kids and the scarecrow moved through the barn. They used rope to tie Scarecrow to the fence. That is so amazingly awesome, Nate said. It looks like someone I know, Brian said. He closed his eyes pretending to think. Oh yeah, it looks like you, Bradley. Bradley grinned. Well, if it looks like me, then it looks like you, twin brother. Here's the picture. So, unfortunately, I am going to stop there. I'm actually quite invested in the story and I want to know more. But yeah, I'm so sorry that is going to be the end of today's video. But I hope you guys enjoyed and found it relaxing. I might pre-film another video, so I might post again today. I'm not 100% sure, but I might. And I also am planning to post another video on my ASMR TikTok account, which if you haven't followed that yet or followed me on there, please do. Here is the name and what it's called. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Please don't forget to give this video a like. Please don't forget to comment the book emoji if you stayed to this point in the video. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already and you enjoy my content. Please don't forget to follow me on all my social medias, which are always in my description box down below. As well as please don't forget to subscribe to all the channels that I have listed down below as well. I love you all so much, and I'll see you in my next video.